Hey guys, it's Kane. With my young kingdom just getting into Heroic Anthem KvK, I've been getting a lot of questions regarding crystal tech investments. So today I'll be going through general guidance tips, crystal spending priorities, and crystal research investment order for both pay to win and free to play players. Enjoy. So starting off with some general guidance, right? What is crystal tech? So think of it kind of like a battle pass. Every KvK in Season of Conquest, again, that's your fourth KvK as a kingdom and beyond, you will have an opportunity to earn crystals and invest them into research to power up your account. This resets every KvK, so think about it as temporary power. Next thing to dive into is that you get access to two brand new buildings in this format of KvK. The first one being your Crystal Research Center, which will be where all your research is based out of and where you actually go to do your research. And the other one will be your Crystal Mine. This is one of your main ways of getting crystals in this KvK. And it's really important that you upgrade this building at 25, but we're going to get into that later. My last and probably most important general guidance tip is you do not want to use your research speedups on this event unless you have already unlocked T5, right? And you've completed all of your normal research, right? Investing in temporary power is really bad for the growth of your account and will hinder you in the long run. So it is better to unlock your permanent technology first, right? Once you've completed your permanent technology and your T5 research, you will be swimming in research speedups and you'll have absolutely no use for them outside of this specific situation, and you'll be able to use all of them here. So again, don't invest any speedups, especially universals, into this Crystal Research Center until you have completed your normal research. All right, now let's go over a few ways that both free-to-play and pay-to-win can go about getting crystals in KvK. So let's do free-to-play first, right? So very basic level, like I mentioned earlier, the Crystal Research Mine, this building right over here, is one of your biggest generations of crystals in the entire KvK. So this is a really important building to get to level 25 before you do any of your crystal research, first and foremost, right? The next best thing you can do is Barbarian Chaining. If you can't do Barbarian Chaining, you can do Barbarian Forts. Barbarian Chaining, I'll show you, looks a little something like this, right? So you spend the action point for one Barbarian and you get to pull a ton, right? So I was doing some of this earlier, and the rewards for doing this are pretty insane, right? You get a little bit of crystals for every barb you kill, and it adds up substantially over time. The next thing you can do is, if you can't Barbarian Chain, you want to do Forts, and if you don't have time for Forts, just 5 March Barbarians and you'll get it that way. Next, you can get Kahar Bone Whistles. You get these from Bastion quests. Kahar Bone Whistles look something like this. They reward, I believe, 45,000 crystals per one that you kill, so these are really valuable. Next, I just mentioned Bastion, so Bastion quests, actually I have this open right now. When you get into here, you'll be able to do these quests, and obviously you get a good amount of crystals. Just a reminder, I saved this one because this is a reminder of one that you should not complete, right? Your materials, especially normal iron ore, are very valuable. So you want to use your refreshes until you get something that you can do, like gold, right? The most important one, let's skip this one, and this one, okay. The most important one is the training, right? You get a really large amount of crystals and favor, which is this little heart thing right here, for training troops, as well as a Kahar Bone Whistle. So obviously that's a really important one to get. Lastly, you can have crystal chests, or not lastly, but you can get crystal chests from your previous KvKs. For spending a certain amount of crystals. So there are achievements in the Heroic Anthem thing right here. If you go down to Crusader Achievements and you go to Individual and you scroll all the way down, you'll see that you get rewards here for spending up to 100 million crystals. I'm only at 30 million, right? I got a long way to go, but I will get there eventually. And what happens is that next KvK you do, you'll get even more crystals at the start. So your first KvK, you might not have this and you won't have this, but for every KvK after that, you will. And it's a really good boost. And then lastly, you've got your Trial of KvK. If we go to War of Conquest, you'll see the Trial of KvK. You get a certain amount per hour, and there are different stages, right? So we're in the early stage of my KvK, so we only have 1 star, or the easy level. Eventually, you'll get to the hell level, or 5 stars, and the generation will actually be pretty substantial. So now, hopping into more pay-to-win ways to get crystals, there are 2 basic base level priorities that you need to do, and I'll have on the screen here shortly, or there on the screen here shortly, the kind of priorities that you have. There are 5 different things that you can purchase, right? The first one is your daily crystal supply. So if you go ahead and go into the game, and you go to where you make all your payments, right? So I believe that's not it. Right here, you'll go to premium crystal supply. It costs $5 and it gives you 60,000 crystals a day for the entire KvK and boosts your crystal mine by 50%. Honestly, you know, if you're a low spender, this is the #1 priority. Pick this up. Okay, the next thing is your kind of Lucerne Scrolls type-esque event that comes with KvK. This costs $15, and you get an absurd amount of crystals. You also get an iconic crystal at the very end here, but fortunately you can get that free to play. If you are a low spender, I would highly recommend this $20 investment. For the dollar you get, it is the most power that you will have for this KvK. So as far as crystal investments, the third priority is the pop-up bundles that come as you're upgrading your research center and your crystal mine to level 25. This will cost you a total, if you include the $15 and the $5 from the other, you know, first and second priorities that I mentioned, about $210 per KvK. It's not a little money, right? I understand that. But if you are a mid spender, I would recommend that you go for these pop-up bundles. That's what I did this KvK. It gives you a gigantic boost for the start. And as you can see, I mean, my KvK is only a few days old, and I'm working on Quench Blades 2, you know, rank 10 right now. So it's pretty insane, the boost that you get for just doing those pop-ups. Second, and now we're getting into more whale status, right? Right before pass openings. In fact, we have one coming up in just a few days, I think on Wednesday, and today is Sunday, so 2-3 days. There will be a bundle that comes out. I think you can max purchase it up to $385. If not, it's $185, but I think you can purchase the whole thing, the gold chest version 3 times, which would be a total of $385. And that's called the Mountain Warfare bundle. It's not up now, but there, I'll put a screenshot for you. But yeah, so essentially that is the fourth priority. It's really, I mean, it's better than the daily offer for crystals, and you'll get a boatload of crystals for making that purchase. And lastly, truly the whalest move of all the whales, you can actually go in to the super value bundle, I believe. Where is it? Why don't I stick around and try to find this? It's gotta be, here it is. It was here, I just couldn't see it. The Conqueror's Will, right? So you can buy this every single day, the $5 version, the $10 version, and the $20 version for a total of $35 a day. I wouldn't recommend this. It's not great value for the dollars you're spending, unless you really are like a rally lead or a garrison captain, or you're just a max tech whale and you want to get max tech as quick as possible and go for 7 marches, then you should buy this every day. If you do buy this every day, you will end up getting 7 marches and nearly max tech by the opening of zone 6. So not this zone, right? This is zone 4. You've got zone 5, which is right here. It's called Ceylon for us. And then you've got your zone 6, which is up here. So if you want to really pay for that 7 marches and have the capability to do so, then you can buy those bundles. But I definitely would not recommend it for your average player. Alright, so now that we've gotten most of that general guidance out of the way, right? Like, what is Crystal Tech? What is the Research Center? What are all these things? How to gain crystals, right? Why don't we get into why probably you're all here in the first place, which is the actual order of what I spend my crystals on, right? So I joined KvK. What am I doing? What is the order of this technology? Where do I spend my crystals first? So I'm going to split this up into what you should do as a pay-to-win who is buying the pop-up bundles, and what you should do if you are a free-to-play and not buying these pop-up bundles. First, we're doing the pay-to-win just because it's a lot more linear and it's simpler, right? Because you're always going to have crystals and there's a very clear path. So first thing you do when you come into KvK, you get this crystal mine to level 25 and this crystal research center to level 25. All right, that's really important. It's going to give you a discount of a total of 5% just for having this level 25, and that'll add up in the long run, right? That's really good. As far as the research that you should do as a pay-to-win, you're going to come in here And the first thing you're going to do is you're going to do everything it takes to get Skillful Operations 1, 5 out of 5 as soon as possible. So you do that, and then you're still going to have a bunch of crystals left over because you're buying the pop-ups, and then you're going to come over here and get Skillful Operations to 2 out of 10, or sorry, 2 out of 10, 6 out of 10. This will be your bottleneck, because you're going to have to get Marching Order 7, and that requires Swift Marching 7, and that requires all these level 10, and that's going to take a long time. You're not going to have the crystals if you're just buying the pop-up bundles. So what you're going to do once you hit Skillful Operation 2, 6 out of 10, is you're going to now start maxing your Plunder, your Barbarian Reports, your Karaku's Gift. So you're going to go ahead and get this to 6 out of 10, right? This is kind of the bottleneck. So this 6 out of 10, this 6 out of 10, and you're going to max these, right? So 5 out of 5, 5 out of 5. Once you go there, you're going to start working on this, right? Which is your kind of level 2 of your basic combat enhancements. So that's going to take a little while. But once you get Swift Marching right here to 6 out of 10, you're going to then move your Skillful Operations and get this to 10 out of 10. Once this is 10 out of 10, you will actually have a lot more freedom with what you want to do. Now it's more based on your playstyle, right? Do you prioritize your 6 March? Well, what if you only have 5 fighting marches? Then you don't really need it, right? But what if you're an inf main? Then you only need to invest in more infantry stuff, right? So all this stuff. If you're worried about resource and healing costs, right, you want this. But either way, the most important thing is getting Skillful Operations to 10 out of 10 as soon as possible. Alright, now we're going to hop into the free-to-play order of operations. So, first of all, this list is going to consider that you're a grinder, and since you're watching this video, I'm kind of assuming that you are, but things get a little dicey, right? All of this is affected by your activity, right? The first question you're probably wondering is like, what level should I get my research center to after I've completed my mine? So, like pay to win, the first thing you should do with your crystals is get this crystal mine to level 25, right? But you're not even going to have enough crystals to get this to like level 20 right off the bat. So what I would recommend is get it to maybe level 10 to 15 before you start your research, but nothing too high, right? However, once you do start doing some research, again, your goal and your path is very similar to pay to win. It's just going to take you longer to get there and more grinding. So, and you'll actually need level 20 to unlock Skillful Operations 1, 5 out of 5, which if we hop in here again, right, this is still your number 1 priority as a free-to-play. However, this is where it gets a little strange, right? Because you're not going to just be able to have crystals to go in and get this very first thing, right? And what you're going to be, able to do is farm a bunch of barbarians, and this is where plunder actually becomes almost more valuable than Skillful Operation. So, obviously, if you have the crystals and you're just relying on your crystal mine and your bastion quests and all that stuff, you can get Skillful Operation first before you go into Plunder. However, getting Plunder and Karaku's Gift before your Skillful Operations, because you're grinding so much, is actually a good thing. So go ahead, go in, do all the requirements, get Plunder up as far as you can, and get Karaku's Gift up as far as you can. Then you can work on Skillful Operations, right? Once you reach Skillful Operations 1, 5 out of 5, your next goal, similar to pay to win, is Skillful Operations 2, 6 out of 10, right? And that's all the way over here. The same concept applies, right? You're going to be grinding a lot, so you're going to be getting all this, tech from killing a bunch of barbarians, right? So in order to get Skillful Operation 6 out of 10, you might actually need to get Plunder 6 out of 10 first, right? Or Karaku's Gift 6 out of 10 first. So keep that in mind. Get the Plunder, get the Gift, then get into the Skillful Operations, and then you can go back. Obviously, you want to get your treaties and your cultural exchange. Your treaties is more important than your cultural exchange, but again, this is more ways to get crystals. Once you've got your treaties, your Plunder, your Karaku's Gift, your Skillful Operations, now you can start investing in your combat enhancement tech. Once you do this, it's the same thing as pay to win. You're going to get all these 10 out of 10. Your attack formation, I think, only has to be 7 out of 10 to get all these 10 out of 10. And same with Swift Marching and Skillful Operations 10 out of 10. But again, once you do that, your next goal is Skillful Operations 10 out of 10. While you're doing this, I think your your tech or your Crystal Research Center will actually require you to be a higher level than 20. So obviously level that up as high as you need in order to get this to 10 out of 10 first. Once Skillful Operation is 10 out of 10, and once you've maxed your Plunder, your Karaku's Gift, and your treaties, now it is time to put the research on hold, right? Stop it. And then you're going to go right into finishing your Crystal Research Center to level 25. That way, for the rest of your time doing research, you've got that 5% discount. Now that you've done all that, right, your Research Center is finally level 25, you've got max Plunder, you've got max Skillful Operations, now you finally are able to go into kind of your choice of investment. So now you can go in and get Quench Blades, now you can go in and maybe finish attack formation or finish Swift Marching. You can go in, get some Call to Arms for some bonus capacity, right? But again, the most important thing is that you finish all your economy, because as a free-to-play, you are going to be begging for that economy, right? And let's face it, you're not going to be hitting as hard as those whales out there anyway. So getting an extra 3% attack, while it's good, it's not going to be as impactful as some max tech whale out there. So get your economy, be able to grind, and then you can work on the combat stuff later. So as a free-to-play, you can probably tell that the lines aren't exactly clear on the 100% perfect way to go about your crystal research, right? It all depends on your own activity and your own dedication to the KvK. The route is still the same, right? It is still, you want to get your discounts up soon, right? So you want to get your Skillful Operations 1, you want to get your Skillful Operations 2, you want to get all your economic tech down so that you can start grinding, right? Like that's the name of the game for free-to-play. But in order to get there, you're not going to just have all those crystals up front. So you got to maybe take some out of order, which I hope I explained well, right? You want to be able to grind those barbs and work on that tech that way. So just keep that in mind, right? And just as a reminder, I know I said this at the beginning of the video, but if you are not already T5 as a free-to-play, and a lot aren't in the first 1 or 2 Season of Conquest KvKs, don't worry about Crystal Tech. Just don't, okay? You've got so much progress on your account to go. Just save your research speed ups, save all your speed ups and your resources, and wait until you hit T5, right? You are much more valuable to your kingdom as a rally and a garrison reinforcer than you are an open field monster, right? You're not going to be an open field monster at 35 million power in your first Season of Conquest KvK. You're just not. So wait until you can really buff up your account, and then you'll be able to contribute much more towards your kingdom. Alright guys, I really do hope this helped. I will try my best to answer any questions that you guys have in the comments. Please leave something in there that I missed. I know that this is kind of a sensitive topic for a lot of people, and even confusing almost, so I was really hoping that I could give you some guidance. But yeah, please let me know what you guys are interested in seeing. We have our past fight coming up soon. Unfortunately, I do have a full-time job, so I won't be able to stream it because it's right in the middle of the day. But I will probably be streaming as soon as I get home, and maybe some of the lag will have ended by then, and it won't be such a cluster F. So again, thank you guys for sticking around. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys around. Peace.